Hi guys, today's video is going to be much requested. A little while ago I told you I was going to do a video on the different chemical exfoliants that I use, and the reason I've put it off is because I really don't know much of the science behind it. Now there are plenty of people on YouTube, plenty of bloggers out there that are really what I would consider to be experts in the field, and if you want to know more I'll leave some links below of people that I would recommend that you read or watch. But I'm not one of those people, so all I'm going to tell you is my experience with these 4 products I'm going to show you in a moment, and how I feel that they've worked for my skin. I will just put out a disclaimer that each of these could not work for you. They work really well for me, and my skin does really respond to things like glycolic acid, whereas you may be a little bit sensitive to it. I know there's people that have used certain products here that have said that it's really not worked with their skin. I mean, it's irritated them or created quite a bad reaction because they are quite active ingredients, the things that are in these. They do smooth your skin, and you know, that works for me. I like to feel a little tingle. I like my skin even to look a little bit red after I've used something because I feel like it's really working. Whereas some people, if it starts to feel a little bit uncomfortable, or if their skin is a little bit tender afterwards, that's a big no-no for them, whereas that's not a deal breaker for me at all. So just kind of a disclaimer, first and foremost, just because I'm telling you this works for me, it might be the absolute worst thing for you to possibly use, which is why I recommend that you read and do a little bit of research, talk to people online, you know, watch some more videos from people who know a little bit more about this. And I know that maybe those of you that were expecting this video were expecting me to know a bit more about it myself, but I can't lie to you, I don't. And I've done a little bit of research, but I don't want to kind of pass it off as, oh, I know this and I know that, because I don't. I really don't. This is just my personal experience with these kind of products. So first of all, I'm going to talk about this, which is the Pixi Glow Tonic, or the Glow Tonic from Pixi. I don't really know what it's called because mine didn't have a label on it. When I bought it from the store in London, I bought it and the person was like, I promise this is what it is. We've run out of labels, and she was showing me the one that had the label on it and the one that I was buying, and I was cool with it and whatever. So it smelled the same, and she was like, I promise you this is the same thing. I was buying it from the store, so I was fairly satisfied that it was, but I don't know specifically what it is called. But I'll have like everything listed below. But yeah, I really like this. It does give me that little tingle. It is a toner, so it's, well, like I say, it's a toner. That's what we traditionally would call it, but it's just step after cleansing, which then becomes a chemical exfoliant. So I'm still going to call them toners, but they are basically chemical exfoliators. So it's a liquid exfoliator, which basically means that there are chemicals in it that are stripping a layer of your skin. Maybe I'm wrong about that. But they're basically doing what a manual exfoliator would do. So whereas you might be sloughing away or sloughing away that dead skin layer, this is doing it, you could say, more gently, because it's not kind of like really rubbing against your skin, kind of grains. I don't think that's so great for your skin. So you could say more gently, but it depends on the individual. So maybe that works better for you. Whatever is better for you, but if you're interested in chemical exfoliants, this is a great one. But it's a little bit expensive and it's a little bit difficult to get your hands on. I know that kind of skincare purists really like this one because the ingredients are great. However, I found one that I think works just as well for me, and it's from the Botanics range at Boots. This is a fraction of the price, and the only big difference between this one and the Pixi is that this has alcohol in it, which for me isn't a deal breaker, but for some of you, alcohol might be something that kind of flares something up, or it gives you a bad reaction. Maybe it dries out your skin. I know that back in the day I used to think that alcohol was the best thing ever because it would dry out my skin when I was having acne and breakouts and things, but that's not the best thing, because the drier your skin is, the more oil it produces to counteract that, so the worse your acne will get. So that's not fantastic. I wouldn't recommend that you kind of really seek out products that have alcohol in them, but this is great for me. This works for me. I don't feel that it does dry out my skin. I definitely haven't had an adverse reaction. A lot easier to get hold of and a lot better value if you don't mind the alcohol. So yeah, I would definitely recommend this. I've mentioned this before, and I think that this is probably why you guys wanted me to make this video. The last kind of toner kind of product that I'm going to mention is the Alpha H, and this really isn't a toner at all. This is more like a treatment. The way that I used this is the liquid gold, and I've had this for a long time, so all of the print has run off the packaging. But the way that I would use this is every other night I would put this on after cleansing and not put anything else on, so no serum, no moisturiser, etc. The problem that I found with this is that it was making my skin more oily, and I don't know, yes, it has got alcohol in it. So the only thing that I can think is that the alcohol was stripping my skin of all the oils that it needed, and so it was overproducing. Now, it didn't make me break out at all, and in fact that's not true. I did have the purging phase. Lots of people talk about these products giving them a purging phase, which basically means that it's bringing all of your impurities to the surface, and then you're trying to get rid of them. So this did give me a little bit of that phase, and I got some, I want to say cystic acne because it effectively was, but cystic acne usually is something that you would get like repeatedly. So it gave me those bumps that were effectively cysts. They gave those bumps that you kind of like, they hurt, even when you're not touching your face, you can feel them. And then with constant use of this, or every other day I was using this, they just kind of went away on their own. They didn't become anything, but they really were quite painful for maybe a week. So I did have a small purging phase, but other than that, I didn't break out from it at all. It just, I felt like it made my skin really, really oily. So if you've got dry skin, maybe this would work better for you, and I would definitely buy this again, but I would probably put this down to maybe once a week using this rather than every other day or 3 times a week as I was using it before. But I now have completely run out of that. I finished it up this month, and I'm kind of in 2 minds whether or not I am going to buy it again. I feel like it did make my skin look so much better, but because of the other things that I've been using, I feel like it's very expensive, and maybe I don't need it. Maybe the other things are working just as well for me at the moment. The last thing I want to mention is not really, couldn't fall into the toner category. It's very, very different, and it's the Peaches and Clean cleanser from Soap and Glory. So this is something that I have used in many different ways. It's supposed to be a 3-in-1 wash up deep purifying cleanser. It doesn't actually say what the 3 things are, but it's supposed to purify your skin effectively. Now I did use this as a cleanser, and it smells amazing, it feels really nice on the skin, but I thought it was a bit meh. I definitely wanted to use something else to take off my makeup. You can't put it near your eyes, and so it wasn't really the thing for me, and essentially it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So when I was first using it, I wasn't impressed. And then, I don't know if it was an accident or what I did, but I put it on my skin. And when I pay a little bit more for something, I think this was £7 or £8, I think it's £8 now, it used to be 7, which was a little bit more expensive than I was used to paying for a cleanser at the time. When I pay a little bit more for something, I like to leave it on my skin for a few minutes just to see if it can kind of, you know, it just seems like a bit of a waste to spend a lot of money on something you just wash away, you know, like shampoo. So I left it on my skin for a few minutes, and I felt a big difference. It started to tingle, and when I took it off, my skin felt a little bit tender and it was a little bit pink, and I thought, that's interesting. And for some people, like I say, that's going to be a, oh my god, this was this horrendous thing, and you're going to think, oh, I had this terrible reaction. For me, I really liked that. I thought, there's something in this that's doing something to my skin, and I like it. And some of you will think I'm completely mad, but the more I used it, the less I had that reaction. So obviously, my skin kind of got used to it. But it was almost like a peel. So I feel like it was doing something akin to if you had some kind of facial peel. So I would leave it on for longer and longer. And I wouldn't recommend that you leave it on for a really long period of time, just because you just never know what would happen. I might, but then that's my face. And at the end of the day, if I've done that, then I've only got myself to blame, whereas you could blame me if I tell you to do it. But I probably would leave it on an hour, maybe now, or I would have done. And it just made my skin feel so, so soft. And again, I discovered in the ingredients we have glycol. And it did say, I don't think it says it in this, in the original packaging it said it contained fruit smoothing extracts or something. It doesn't say it in now. But yeah, it said something to do with fruit enzymes or smoothing extracts or something. So it was something that was smoothing my skin. And I don't think that it was the fruit enzymes necessarily that was doing it. It might have been the glycol, and that's a key ingredient that is included in each of these products is glycol or glycolic acid, which is a similar, it's like within the same family. And that is definitely what my skin responds really, really well to. It does make my skin feel really smooth. I don't know about purifying it, but definitely that's what's giving me that exfoliated feel. Anyway, I was using it for months and months and months, and then I stopped using it for a while, and I started using these other chemical exfoliants. I was using different cleanser, and I started using it again recently. And I got that same feeling. And the other day I used it just for the duration of my bath. So I cleansed my face with my regular oil or balm, and then left this on for maybe 10 minutes while I washed my hair, shaved my legs, etc. Watched a YouTube video. And then when I took it off, my face was bright red. It was hot. I could feel, just like when I put my hands here, I could feel that it was really, really warm. And I haven't had that feeling in a really long time. It probably, I wouldn't have left it on for 10 minutes the first time I used it, but other people have told me that that's the reaction that they've got when they first used this. And I've started using it again, and I don't know if my skin got used to it and so I stopped feeling the effects of it, and now my skin is more sensitive to it again. I don't know. I know that it's nothing to do with the repackaging, because I started using it again after it had been repackaged and I didn't feel that, so I don't know. And I know I've gone off on a complete tangent, but I do want to be clear that if you do feel a little tingle, or if you do feel that your skin is a little tender afterwards, don't panic, because that happens to me all the time with a lot of products that I use, and my skin's fairly normal, it's not particularly sensitive. If you have got sensitive skin, you'd probably feel that tingle straight away. And so it might not be the right thing for you, but I just don't want you to panic if something like that ever happens to you and you use a peel. I actually did use a peel mask recently, and it really did have quite an adverse reaction. It burnt my skin. I got quite dry patches and things like that. So I know the difference, and this didn't get me to that stage. But do be careful, because things like this with active ingredients, chemical exfoliants in general, it might not be for you if you do have very sensitive skin. But yeah, massive rambly video. I just wanted to show you the 4 things that I have used and really, really liked. But the 2 that I would definitely recommend and are definitely affordable are the Cleansing Toner All Bright from the Botanics range. I think it's from the All Bright range at Botanics. And I want to try some different things from this range because they basically all do the same thing. Anything that says it's going to be brightening, smoothing, it's going to have something in it that is exfoliating your skin. And the other one is the Peaches and Clean, which I use as a mask. You can also use it on your feet, and it really softens your feet. I don't know, it's a bit crazy, but I wouldn't use it as a regular cleanser. I would use it for, lots of people say you can use like a balm cleanser and then you can use a milk cleanser or something afterwards. I would just put this on for a couple of minutes after I've cleansed my face with whatever else I'm using, and it just gives me that smoothing feeling. That's all I'm saying. One last note, I am actually not wearing any foundation at all today. So many of you have complimented me on my skin recently when I've done tutorials and started with no makeup, and you go, oh, your skin is really nice, and I always think, well, no, it's not. But the problem that I always have when I've got no makeup on is my eye definition. So I feel like I need a little bit of concealer. I've got a little concealer under my eyes today. I've done my eyebrows and my eyes, but that's it. I don't have anything else on my skin at all. So a little bit of powder to knock out any shine, but other than that, nothing. And this is definitely attributed to the skincare that I've been using. So I hope that that was useful. I'm sure you'll have tons of questions that I didn't even think of answering, but if you have, please leave me a comment and I'll answer as many questions as I can. But do remember that I am not an expert, and any of the things that I've said in this video could be completely wrong. But all I'm telling you is that I like these products and they really work for me. So fingers crossed they'll work for some of you, and that this is in some way helpful for those of you that just wanted to know what I use. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!